Hey guys, Mason here at Let's Go Ford. I am with the 2021 Ford Raptor versus the 2021 Ram TRX. Now I got a little cheat sheet here in my pocket, just so that way I don't screw up any of these specs. We're just gonna lay it out on the table real quick. Everybody knows that the Ram TRX has a 6.2 liter V8 and the Raptor has the 3.5 liter V6. The Ram has 702 horsepower with 650 foot-pounds of torque. And the Raptor has 450 horsepower with 510 foot-pounds of torque. Now I know that sounds like a lot to a lot of you guys, and that is a big horsepower difference. What I want to stress with both of these trucks is what these are intended for is to be an off-road vehicle. And I will say, as much fun as this truck is to drive, in my personal opinion, it's too much to be able to handle off-road. I've taken both of these trucks, I've driven them on the streets, I've driven them on the expressway, and then I've driven them on very, very rough terrain road. And I will say that as nice as this truck is and as fast as this truck is, it is not usable in the off-road situation. The same vehicle, or the same truck on the same, or sorry, two different trucks on the same road, I was actually able to almost, let's see, 1.5 times faster in the Raptor than I was in the TRX because I felt like this truck was actually gonna get away from me. It was one of those things where you really have to control this, and this truck is just nimble. This thing moves, it's quick, it soaks up the suspension. This thing you actually have to drive, you're really fighting with it. A couple things I want to point out while we're here. You've got the Ram, it's got the intake through the grill, and you've got the intake here with to help out with the supercharger. Very similar design with the Ford. You've got all of this open up on the Ford and the logo. These trucks are very similar, you know, the Raptor came out first, and then the TRX is the competitor, and I think, you know, they definitely took a lot of styling cues from these. It's one of those things where they were going after the Raptor, and I think they did a good job on the TRX. But one of the statements that I do want to make is that this is a very nice street truck that has off-road capabilities. This is a off-road truck. This thing handles off-road. This thing does great off-road. A couple more facts as we're going through. This Raptor will tow 8,200 pounds. This will only tow 81. You know, there's weight differences here. We've got optional 37 package on this. You only have the 35s with the TRX. We're talking ground clearance. The ground clearance of the Ram, we are at 11.8 inches. The optional 37 package, we're at 13.1 inches. Ground clearance is huge for off-road vehicles. Front and rear suspension travel. One thing I want to point out, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab this tape measure real quick just so you guys can see. This from tire to wheel well is about 8 inches. The TRX from tire to wheel well is, we're looking at about 6, a little bit over 6 inches there. So that's a huge thing. The Raptor has 14 inches of front suspension travel. The TRX is very close, but it's only at 13. The rear, the Raptor has 15 inches of suspension travel. The TRX, once again, comes up a little short. It's only at 14. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I'm buying this truck, I am buying it to use it for what it's intended to be used for. Let's run to the back real quick. Let's do a quick comparison on the rear. The Ram TRX, we are at 8.5 tire to wheel well. 21 Raptor, we are at almost 9.5, just shy of 9.5 there. So you've got extra clearance. And these trucks, I do want to point out, this 2021 Ram versus the 2021 Ram TRX versus the 2021 Ford Raptor. These builds are very similar. This is not a 37 package truck. This is a 35 package truck. This is the 35-inch tire on the Ram TRX. So these are very, very similar trucks. One thing that I want to point out on the Ram, they partner with Fox. This is the biggest difference on these two trucks. Those Raptor Fox shocks are the reason why this truck handles as great as it does. And I am buying this truck for the reason of it handling. Ram has gone with a Bilstein TRX remote reservoir shock. It does a good job. It just, in my opinion, comes up short. The technology from Fox is truly amazing. They put all their engineering from Fox into this truck, and this truck is just made to go. You've got whoops, you've got bumps, you've got whatever. Driving down the road, these are two very different trucks. I want to make that clear. This and this are not, the 21 Raptor and the 21 Ram TRX are not the same truck. They try and be in the same caliber, but they are just not the same. A couple things while we're coming up to the front that I want to point out. Rams just got their standard Ram headlights and regular fog lights. Ford, once again, partnered with Rigid. You have your LED Raptor headlights with your Rigid off-road lights. These are just regular fog lights. These are actual off-road lights where the covers come off and it's a usable beam that's actually made to be used in the desert and in racing situations. Another thing I wanted to point out, some people love the two-tone on the TRX. I personally think it feels just a little cheap. It's a nice thought, but this is still paint. This is not to protect the paint. This will chip just as bad. We've got very similar running boards on both trucks, very similar designs. These are both bedline metal. Real quick, I'm not gonna take too much and get in the inside too much, but you know, the Ram, it does feel a little cheap for how much you're paying for this truck. It does look a little cheap. I'm pretty sure this is out of a 1998 Saturn, or I'm sorry, a 1998 Dodge Stealth. I think they used the same button there. We've got, you know, some leather cues. You got an Alpine stereo. You've got a nice touch screen. It's large. I think it's a little skinny. As we come over here, so you guys can just do a quick side-by-side comparison, the aesthetics and the looks of this, this screams more quality in my opinion. It's more comfortable to drive. I would say the only thing on the interior that I enjoy on the Ram more than the Ford is the thickness of the steering wheel. Their steering wheel is a little bit more comfortable to grab, but I will say that it's needed to hold on tight because it's hard to control this truck. And maybe that's what Ram was going for. Maybe they wanted a very high performance street truck that had off-road capabilities. But everybody wants to say this is a Raptor competitor, and I still don't think they are at the point where they are in the same realm. A couple other things I want to point out. Not super huge, but mirror location. You know, the Ram is very high up. It kind of gives the look that the truck's, you know, a little bit bigger than what it is. This is more usable in my opinion. You know, the trucks are the same height. The rear of the truck is the same height. The cab heights are the same, and yet with Ford you get more ground clearance and you get better aerodynamics, and the design feature, it just looks better. These almost look out of place to me. A couple other specs that I want to go through. The approach angle, which if you guys don't know what that means, it's this angle here to where when you're approaching an off-road obstacle, how much angle you have before your bumper's actually going to hit. The Raptor comes in at 33.1 inches. The TRX comes in shy at 30.2. The departure angle, which is the same angle, but it's in the rear. So you're talking how much angle can you take on your departure from this rear before your back bumper's going to hit. On the Ram TRX, we are at, let's see, 23.5. The departure angle on the Raptor is at 24.9. That's a big difference. When you are off-roading these as they are made to be off-roaded, this is going to be able to do a lot more than this. These are big factors. The breakover angle, which is basically your center angle of how much, if you come into a peak, how much can you take? We are at 24.4 on the Raptor, and we are at only 21.9 on the Ram TRX. These are off-road trucks, and they should, I'm trying to treat this as them being the same caliber truck. So I just want, those are a couple little things that I want to point out. The other thing that I want to point out is weight of the truck. Now, these are made to be off-road vehicles, right? These are made to go fast. This is made to be a desert truck and go on the whoops. We are at 5,750 pounds for this. We are at 6,396. And I know what a lot of people are going to say. This is due to the big supercharged V8, and I agree 100%. This has more weight because of the V8, and you think that it would offset with the horsepower. But in my opinion, for what this truck is intended for, this truck is nimble, this truck is fast, and this truck is well weighted. This truck is very fast. I'm not disregarding that, but it's not usable because it's not nimble and it's not well weighted. So you can't, this truck is very hard to control. This truck is very easy to control. I was not near the braking point of this truck, and I actually had to let off the gas because I was at the braking point of this truck. A couple other things that I think are key to point out. The tire width, outside to outside. I know it's usually center of tire to center of tire, but we did a quick measurement. The Ram is at 86 inches and the TRX is at 87 inches wide. So the TRX is a little bit wider, but like I said, the Raptor's a little bit more nimble, and I don't think that it, the Raptors are a little bit more nimble. They're a little bit more agile. Oh, I'm sorry. The The Raptor is at 86 inches wide and the TRX is at 87 wide. So this actually has about an inch outside to outside tire, but it doesn't give it the leg up that it needs. Another key thing is you're buying these trucks because they're comfortable. Some quick headroom, front seat headroom in the Raptor, 40.8. Very similar, a little bit extra headroom, 40.9 than the Ram TRX. Legroom, which I think is huge. I have a lot of tall friends. You're at 43.9 for front seat legroom in the Raptor. You are only at 40.9 in the Ram TRX. Now I will say that is 3 full inches that you lose in the cab of this truck. That is a big number when it comes to how much cabin space you have. Rear headroom in the Raptor, we are at 40.4. In the TRX, we are at 39.8. So you lose a little bit of rear. Yeah, let's open up the rears real quick just so you guys can see. And then rear leg room in the Raptor, you're at 43.6, and in the TRX, you're at 45.2. So that's in relation to how close you're going to be to the front seat. The Raptor just has all around, it's larger cabin space, it's more nimble, and so you lose a little bit of horsepower, but you gain all of the usable horsepower, in my opinion. One other thing that I did want to point out is just the sheer look of these trucks. I think both manufacturers did a great job in the design of these trucks. I personally think that this is too rounded, in my opinion. I like the very squared off looks. I think the older trucks are very square, and the look of this, the first gen Raptor was a very rounded truck. It reminds me a lot of the 2021 Ram TRX. And in this case, the 2021 Raptor versus the 2021 Ram TRX, I will say that this is more my style personally. Some people like the bubble look, things like that. I personally think it's a little outdated. I think Ram needs to update their the look of their truck. But you know, please subscribe to our channel. Please like our page. My name's Mason here. Both of these trucks are for sale. This is one of our used units. This is one of our brand new units. This is one of the things that, you know, I want you guys to be here. I want you guys to feel these trucks. I want you guys to see these trucks. Give me a call here. Ask for Mason. I'll pick up and I'd gladly talk to you about both these trucks. I'm sure there's a couple things that I'm forgetting on both, but I wanted to give you guys a quick breakdown of the 2021 Ford Raptor versus the 2021 Ram TRX. Subscribe to the page, and I appreciate you guys watching.